Well, what's happening, everyone? It's Clenbuterol from jackbyjdsp.com. Well, today I'm going to talk a bit about the clenbuterol, which is mostly used by females for fat loss. Of course, males do. Of course, males do, right? But it has it it doesn't come with no side effects, right? It comes with side effects, which most people ignore. Well, I prepared a slide about clenbuterol and also something it contains, let's say, something can be callable biohacking for for a reason because there are a couple interactions. Some drugs interacts with clenbuterol, and I want to say that it makes it quite effective. Okay, let me cut it short and let's open the slide, right? Okay, the transit. Okay, here we go. Well, of course, as you know, clenbuterol is a beta 2 agonist, which means that as epinephrine or adrenaline depends on where you live in the world. You may call it whatever you prefer. You might call it epinephrine or adrenaline. It's your choice. Anyway, oh, there are a lot of typos, right? It has roughly a half-life of 36 hours, and it used to be available as an asthma drug. What does what what an asthma drug does, if you ask me? What it does is it just bronchodilates. It makes you inhale easily, which is what it does. And it's keep in mind that it is not the most selective beta 2 agonist. Ventolin is even more selective than clenbuterol, but clenbuterol has an longer half-life, has a longer half-life, which makes it, let's say, feasible for those guys who use it as a doping agent. Also, skeletal muscle hypertrophy is very well documented for beta 2 agonists. Beta 2 agonists do hypertrophy skeletal muscle, and also some people use it for beefing up the kettles. Also, it's been well documented on rodents, and it's least effective in chickens, if I recall it correctly. Keep in mind that drugs do what they're supposed to do, right? If it is a beta 2 agonist, it's not the most selective beta agonist, and it's going to increase your heart rate, which is the primary reason why people lose weight on clenbuterol. Number one, first of all, it decreases appetite, and second of all, it increases total daily energy expenditure, your let's say metabolic rate. But I've just a couple seconds previously, I've said that it decreases diastolic pressure via vasodilation. And also, there are some research show that increased heart rate does not primarily come from beta 1 agonism. A weak beta. I'm talking about a weak beta 1 agonism. And instead, it comes from lowered blood pressure, which compensatorily increases heart rate. So you might think that, wait a minute, we were talking about clenbuterol, and now here's on the slide, there is an SSRI, paroxetine, right? GRK2 inhibition is a very, let's say, a novel and promising pathway after, let's say, heart failure. It's a promising pathway that's been shown that has beneficial effects on failing hearts. And in a pathologically remodeled heart, possibly after myocardial infarction, heart desensitized the catecholamines through GRK2 upregulation. And let's say someone has a heart infarction, heart attack, and after that, chances are, it's also well documented that beta 1 to beta 2 receptor, beta 1 to beta 2 receptor ratio alters. The roughly 75% of your heart's beta receptors are beta 1 receptors. But in a failing heart, beta 1 receptors decrease to the point where the ratio becomes 2 to 1 or 1 to 1, somewhere between there, roughly, as I've said. So GRK2 makes beta adrenergic signaling inefficient, right? Also, keep in mind that paroxetine, which is an SSRI, is the only known GRK2 inhibitor drug that has approved from or by whatever it is, FDA, which is FDA approved, which is very interesting if you ask me, right? The drug repurposing is a very promising thing. Also, scientists also try to cure or help to cure cancer with metformin, right? Which is something which is also a drug purposing attempt. Also, a very interesting thing that paroxetine increases heart ejection fraction after heart infarctions, heart attacks. And also, paroxetine also decreases left ventricular hypertrophy. In a mice study also, it's been shown that it decreases collagen accumulation in hypertensive rats, even after adding isoproterenol, which is a beta agonist. It's also been shown that it has additive benefits on beta blocker metoprolol's heart protection effects. And also, well, the pictures I'm going to show you also show that the efficacy or health benefits are very similar on the effects on heart are very similar between. There is not. Let me recap. The metoprolols and paroxetine's health effects seems like quite similar, and there is a synergistic effect between the two, like 1 + 1 = 3. And I hope you can see it clearly, but in hypertension rats, the collagen content of the collagen area of the 22-week-old hypertensive rats are almost 10%. 10% of their heart are collagen, became fibrotic, right? When you gave them metoprolol, which is a beta blocker, which is a beta blocker, it reduces the blood pressure, as you can see, but also decreases the collagen accumulation, which is phenomenal. But when you add paroxetine on top of metoprolol, the collagen content becomes even less than 5%. It's roughly like 3, if I can see correctly. Also, take a look at this. The lowest blood pressure and lowest heart rate group has used metoprolol and paroxetine. And also heart rates. The heart rate, not reduction, but paroxetine and metoprolol prevented heart hypertrophy, increased heart rate. They prevented it very similarly. As you can see in the charts, the blue column is the paroxetine, and green is the metoprolol, right? Very similar. When you combine those two, you get a synergistic effect, which results in column purple. Also, their heart weight to body weight ratio is also decreased, which confirms it confirms it a second time, confirms it twice, double confirmation. Also, look at the chart on the right. You can see that collagen accumulation is highest on the isoprotenolol. Well, I can't pronounce it correctly, but sorry, it's my bad. The beta-2 agonist and hypertensive red group has the highest collagen accumulation, right? When you add paroxetine on hypertensive reds, as you can see on the blue column, it drastically decreases the collagen accumulation, right? Even if they use beta agonist, which you see on the column green, the collagen accumulation is very, very, very minimal. Also, keep in mind that there is no free ride when you use drugs to enhance your performance in the gym, right? There's no free ride. As you can see, also paroxetine acts via GRK2 inhibition sensitizes heart to catecholamines, which you see that when they use epinephrine in paroxetine group, they see even increased higher heart rate. And the same thing goes for the beta agonist isoprotenolol, whatever it is. The heart rate climbs from 400 to sub 500 drastically. So, paroxetine, let's say you've been prescribed paroxetine by your physician, by your psychiatrist. If you somehow decided to use clenbuterol, keep in mind that it has beneficial effects on heart, but it might increase your heart rate even more. It has that potential. So be careful about it. So let's talk about the muscle hypertrophy potential of the combination. The GRK2 inhibition in mice plus clenbuterol administration. So clenbuterol combined with GRK2 inhibition in mice enhanced the hypertrophic response to clenbuterol. GRK2 knockout, skeletal muscle specific knockout mice had superior hypertrophic effects when they get administered clenbuterol compared to clenbuterol alone. Well, let's use our brain just a tiny bit more, 5-10 seconds. What are the possible mechanisms about it? What are the possible mechanisms behind it? Well, possible mechanisms are probably increased myotropic effect per microgram, as we see in the research. Also, it might be its prevention of or delaying the beta-2 receptor desensitization, which is clenbuterol is notorious of. Well, there are some protocols, as maybe you've heard or read about it, like 2 week on, 1 week off, 2 week on, 2 week off, 2 day on, 1 day off, 1 week on, 1 week off. There's a ton of protocols. Your beta-2 receptors desensitize and sensitize very fast. They rapidly sensitize and desensitize. Well, that's been a subject that I've been thinking about quite a lot in last couple of weeks. As I've said, clenbuterol's hypertrophic effects come from beta-2 agonism, and you might combine the bad effects on heart, clenbuterol's bad effects on heart via beta blockers, cardioselective beta blockers, right? But if you have somehow prescribed paroxetine, it's a very strong CYP2D6 inhibitor. It's a very strong inhibitor of CYP2D6, which can interfere with many beta blockers. An example that less likely to be affected by paroxetine, a beta blocker, I'm talking about a beta blocker, is probably bisoprolol or bisoprolol. The combination of the paroxetine beta blocker also seems to have a synergistic effect on heart, right? And also, I want to shout out to Leo on longevity, the Leo Rex, who talked a lot about reducing the neurotoxicity of steroid abuse, right? One of the mechanisms to combat this is these increasing serotonin levels, right? SSRIs. The paroxetine might be one of the best choices of this. As I've shown in the studies, it prevents left ventricular hypertrophy, reverses it, it increases ejection fraction. It seems like it's quite beneficial. Well, I gotta admit that I hate the word biohacking, but I gotta admit that if you it's biohacking, it's something abused by non-biohackers, I guess, and that's why probably I hate the word. But it's the Leo's video about making the adderall even more powerful with beta blockers actually pushed me to seek the research the literature. Well, it's not called in English that way. That's my bad. I took a deep dive on the research and found that it has very beneficial effects, and probably in the future, most doctors are probably prescribe GRK2 inhibitors in heart failure patients. So, long story short, paroxetine and clenbuterol has synergistic effects, likely to have synergistic effect on skeletal muscle hypertrophy. So, if you want to take a look at the research I've cited already, here are the research. Also, I want to thank you all, and well, it's almost 10 p.m. Till next time, it's Jamil from jacked by JDSP.com. Till next time, take care. Bye bye. Have a great day.